Greetings, friends! In our previous video, we talked about all the different types of animals that we have encountered here on the homestead. However, there were two that we didn't get the opportunity to talk about, and we want to talk about them in this video today because we've had some really neat experiences with these particular two, and we needed their own video for that. So we really want to make sure we dedicate this video to talking about those two animals that we had encounters with. And the first one that I want to mention today is one that you actually had dealings with first. I was actually off the homestead coming on my way home, and you called me up. And what did you call me about?
Well, the dogs were going crazy barking, and I heard this weird noise outside. And so I went outside to investigate, and there was this raccoon in the middle of the day acting funny, making this weird noise down at the pond. So I went and got leashes for the dogs, brought the dogs inside, and at that time Micah wasn't around, so we just had Sailor and Josiah, and I'm like, stay inside. And I wanted to kind of track where this thing was going so I could keep an eye on it.
And if you haven't gotten the sense yet, having a raccoon out during the day, at least here where we live, is not a good idea.
No. So I ended up calling the sheriff's department and animal control, and they said they were going to send out some deputies. And Mike wasn't at home, so before they showed up, he showed up, and I kind of filled him in on what was going on.
So as the man, I'm walking out there trying to investigate, seeing what's going on, what's happening around the homestead. And yep, I could see this raccoon just walking like almost like a zombie type, walking around,
making this weird noise like.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want nothing to do with that raccoon at all.
No.
And yeah. So as I was out there, I think I had a stick in my hand, some kind of staff in my hand, just in case it started to come near me. And I wanted to be there so that way when the animal control guys came, that I'd be able to say, hey, the raccoon is right over here. Can you take care of it? So two of them, they arrived. I showed them where the raccoon was. It was actually a little bit further off. Actually, it was kind of like on the back side of the pond, here where we live. And it was cool and sunny, almost like today. It's nice outside. And as I walked them over there to where the raccoon was, and I pointed where the raccoon was, and I wasn't going to go over there with it. So they were armed, and they went over there to the raccoon, and then I heard pop, pop, ah! But it was like more like even higher pitched than that. Can you do it?
No,
you did a perfect impression of it. Come on, let's hear it. Do it. Come on.
No,
yeah, do
but
it.
it was high
like it's hard for that sound to even come out of me.
Scream.
Come on, you got to do it.
No, I'm not doing it. But I couldn't see the deputies, and I couldn't see him.
So after I heard that noise, I heard a louder pop, pop.
It wasn't pop. It was
like boom, boom. Yeah, that's right. It was like boom, boom. Yeah, I can do that noise. Boom, boom. I just can't do that thing. like it happened. So after I heard that noise, I saw them coming over with the raccoon. Did they have it in? They put it in
a black bag.
Yeah, so I got a bag or something.
Bag, yeah.
And I was like, wow. Would the raccoon just like yell out when you shot the first time? And they were like, the one guy was like, no, that was him pointing to his partner. I was like, oh, that was him. Okay.
Totally threw him under the bus for screaming like a girl.
It was so high pitched, it sounded like a girl. I just assumed it was a raccoon. I didn't think that kind of sound could come out of a grown man.
And so what happened was they brought their .22 with them, and they took the .22 rifle over there, and they shot it twice with the .22, and it started charging them.
Yeah.
So they pulled off their sidearm and just like shot it until it didn't move anymore.
But when they did the first two shots and it was coming at him, that's when he made that high pitch, whatever that is. I so wish you would do that. Come on, just say it was kind of like.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
It was so high pitched. It sounded like a little girl. Like I said, I really thought that it was the raccoon had just yelled out when it got shot and just kind of just let it out.
Actually, whenever they left, I was like, what was that scream?
She thought it was me. I was like,
I did not.
You have never heard me scream. Come on.
See how offended
I might be like, ah. I wouldn't be like, ah.
He got so offended whenever I even insinuated that it might be
like,
him.
There's no way that was me. And I'd have been like, ah. But I wouldn't have been like, whatever that was. But that was the raccoon, and that was that experience. And every now and then I think about raccoons. I think about the different experiences that we've had with raccoons, including that one. So it's been pretty interesting. And we've had other experiences with different types of animals and encounters. Some that were really interesting that were on the homestead. Like, it was really neat the one time that you were feeding a giraffe at this ranch.
Yeah.
It was pretty. That was really neat.
At Lacie, that was cool.
Yeah.
Their tongues are so long. It's so neat.
Yeah. As well as we had this opportunity when we were in Costa Rica to see some really neat monkeys.
Super cool.
And they were so cool.
Like, they're so close. You can just feed them. It was really neat.
So a number of us were outside trying to get pictures with these monkeys and video, and I was holding up my phone trying to get a picture or video. I can't remember what it was at the time. And then this monkey just reaches and grabs my camera. Wow, this is totally a neat experience, and seeing how the monkeys are just hanging around here. For us, it's like seeing squirrels or something, but the monkeys are quite normal for around here. But this is pretty cool. Definitely different for us. But I like it. They're very cool. Is it cute?
Handshake to the monkey.
You did? Do it again. See if it'll do it again. Stay back, Micah. Oh man, that's pretty cool. Josiah gave a handshake. Josiah was like, "Oh, the monkey! It shook my hand." I was like, "Okay, let's." Will it shake it again? It did.
They were really cool. They were capuchin monkeys, and there was even a mom with a baby on her back, and so they just came, and the people were feeding them bread, which is probably not in their typical diet.
Yeah.
But
we weren't feeding them bread.
No, but also fruit too. And I set my coffee down, and I think Selah said one of them like tried to get in my coffee, so I made sure I poured that out.
And Selah was reaching out and grabbing the monkey, and I actually thought that the monkey had bit her hand. But she said it licked her or put her nose on it or something like that.
It was smelling her hand.
Oh, that's what
that's
it was.
what it was.
What do you think about the monkey?
Now they be catching me.
He's like, you don't have anything. This place is just absolutely amazing. All the wildlife that are here in this beautiful jungle atmosphere. Oh, and speaking of Costa Ricas, and we just mentioned raccoons. Raccoons are actually out during the day at Costa Rica, and a whole different. You don't have to worry about them being rabid and having some rabies.
No, they just steal your food.
They just steal your food. And while we were at the beach in Costa Rica, there was this raccoon that came and stole one of my fruit Lara bars and was running off and it ate it. And I was just like, "We're raccoon!" What just happened? What just happened?
The raccoon stole your Lara bar out of our snack bag.
Oh man! As soon as I leave, I was somewhat nervous that something might steal something. I was thinking it'd be a monkey because we heard that monkeys will steal some of your things if you're not careful around here. But I didn't know a raccoon was gonna steal it. Oh man, at least it was a Lara bar and nothing major. We were warned about the monkeys eating our food, but
we quickly
never thought
learned
that
the raccoons do the same
Watch out,
thing.
they are bandits down there,
for
and they
sure,
are
for
out
sure.
during the day, and that
And
doesn't
they're
mean
not
that they're
afraid
rabid.
of you at all.
Eating my Lara bar, that little sucker right there. Did you see it happen, Josiah?
Yeah!
Man, you know what? That was my last cashew Lara bar. Man, I really like those bars. When you need a snack on the go, I like that one. Bummer. That's crazy.
That mean old raccoon!
You're like, he's back again. What else do you have for me?
The black masked bandit.
So guys, in the comment section below, let us know what has been some of your favorite animal encounters that you have had in your life. So I wouldn't count the raccoon, the rabid raccoon is one of my favorite.
We don't know if it was rabid, just to let
yeah,
you
we don't know for sure, but it showed some signs, which was the reason for concern.
Exactly.
But amongst that, and that aside actually, and then thinking of the positive ones that we had, like the giraffe and then the monkeys, those are some of our favorite. But I think our most favorite one was the time that we had a deer here in our house, in our yurt. Had a deer in your yurt. I don't think I've ever heard that before. And we actually did, this was probably like our first real vlog that we've ever done.
Yeah.
So only our true hardcore subscribers would have seen this video. This is like vintage in the vault, way down on the YouTube list of our videos.
You
but
gotta scroll,
worthy.
and scroll,
Yeah.
and scroll, and scroll to get to it.
But it's worthy of being mentioned again and showing again. So because it was such a really, really neat experience. And the experience started when we were on our way to church. We were on the church when we were getting ready to pull into the parking lot, and we saw this female deer that looked like it got hit by a car, and it was just dead on the side of the road. We noticed it, didn't think too much of it because it's not totally rare to see something like that. But then we pull in, we park, and then we're heading into the building, and then we hear this cry. Almost sounds like a child.
It almost sounds like a baby.
I was like, wow, we're like some of the first ones here. There shouldn't be a kid outside crying like that. So we go, I think it was probably me again, trying to be the man again. Walk around the backside of the building, and it's a baby deer, a fawn, crying for its mother, which the female deer that we had saw
we think that was mom.
really good likelihood of being its mother, and it was just in distress. And I think that it was probably only a week or two old at max, and it was definitely missing its mother. So I'm like, oh man, we got to do something about this. What are we gonna do? So we ended up just trying to, was it you helping me
Here
out?
we are.
And I think her kids.
I'm pregnant with Micah.
Oh yeah, I forgot Micah was hanging out in there.
With my church clothes on. He's in a full suit. And here we are trying to catch this deer, this baby.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting. It took a little while for that to happen.
Yep.
But I pulled out one of the kids' blankets, and when we had it, I wrapped it up in the blanket.
Yep, I got it.
Yep.
I got it. I got the deer, had the deer in my arms. I was like, whoa, I've never held a deer in my arms before. This is pretty neat. It's like, oh, it's just like a little child hanging right in here in my arms, just a furry one. And then once we got it, we're like, what are we going to do with this deer?
Yeah.
So we knew we had to do something, and we knew that it was probably hungry. Yeah. So we started calling around all the different animal shelters, trying to figure out what we could do with this deer.
Well, first of all, I started calling my friends with goats, because I know deer and goats are very similar in what they eat. So I was looking for goat milk or some colostrum that I could get some from my friends. And we actually, one of my friends had some in her freezer. So we hopped back in the truck.
With the deer.
With the deer.
You were holding the deer and I was driving. Sayla and Josiah just hanging out.
Yeah,
in the back. I think we had my truck drive. We were driving at that time.
We didn't have the van or in the other car. So we drove to my friend's house, and she had an extra bottle. So we got the bottle, and I warmed up the milk when we got home, and I fed the baby.
Yeah, you were feeding the deer, and then it was definitely hungry. It was drinking a lot of milk.
Yeah.
It was definitely missing nursing on the mother. And then we just gave it an opportunity to just walk around the house. And the kids were just absolutely enjoying it, and we were too. It's like, wow, never had a deer in our house before, never had this kind of experience with a deer like this. This is pretty neat.
And she was so cute, and she was super curious and walk around, and the kids put their blankets on the floor because her little hooves were sliding a little bit. So they put that down, and she would just like walk around.
And both of our kids really love animals. Both of them were just petting on her, and Sayla actually named her. So she's named her Daisy.
And after that, you know, I started looking up about wildlife rehab places, because it's actually illegal in most places to, you know, keep a wild animal.
Which was one of the reasons why we didn't keep it, and as the story is going, you'll see that we didn't get to keep it too long. But that, on top of having concerns of the deer eating our stuff in the garden, our produce, it was like, oh, I really want to keep this deer, but oh, we can't because
if we
of
had
the
a
law.
pet deer, yeah.
Nor can we keep it because of it would eat our stuff in our garden that we need to consume and sell in our market garden. So it's like, bummer. But now looking back, I'd really like to figure out. It would have been really cool to have trained the deer to be here. That would have been neat.
It would have been cool.
We'd have been the fit farmer living in a yurt, market garden, and he raises a deer.
Yeah. But they do have some like really specialized requirements, fawn do. So if you find one, well, actually, I want to touch on this. A lot of times people find fawns and they think that they're in distress, when actually the mother has just left the baby to go find food and then come back. So if you ever see a fawn, just leave it be, and most of the time within 12 hours the mom will be back. But for this circumstance, the mom was dead, the baby was in serious distress, because normally they don't make any sounds or get up or move very far if they're okay. So I just want to put that out there, because a lot of wildlife rehabbers get fawns that people have actually stolen, that the mom is going to come back. So you have to be really careful about that. And that's the only reason we got this baby, is because we knew that the mom was not living anymore. So I do want to throw that out there. And I know some other wildlife rehabbers. You can leave, you know, notes in the comments. I know there's at least one that watched the last one. So, but they do require more than just, they don't drink cow's milk. That's not good for them. And so just be very aware of that.
And it was very challenging trying to find a place for this fawn, because the number of the places that we called would not take her in at all.
Yeah.
So thankfully we ended up getting into contact with someone who is a deer rehabilitator.
Yes.
And she was able to provide us with all the instructions that we needed, and ended up getting the deer to her. Yeah. And it was sad that she had to leave, but we did get to experience one day with a deer here in the yurt. And it was a really, really neat experience that we all get to look back on. But Micah's not able to do it because he was just hanging out inside of you.
In the belly.
So he wasn't able to see it. He can just see from this video.
I'm glad you're telling them that. That they don't know that there was like a window that he could look out.
Yeah, he didn't have a little peephole to look through and see what was happening with the deer.
See what I live with?
So that was our experience, one of the best experiences that we've had with an animal, because we got to have it for that long. But yeah, I like having experiences like that with animals and wildlife, and yeah. It's
really cool for the kids too. I mean, for us, but and the kids. I mean, how many kids can say, hey, we had a fawn in our house?
Yeah. Yeah, and it brings to mind a Bible verse for those of you who read the Bible. I'm not trying to force anything on anybody, but for those of you who read the Bible and are students of the Bible, like me, it reminds me of some of the prophetic times that are promised ahead, when the relationship between man and animal will be different, that we'll have that closer relationship again, and the animals won't be afraid of us, because it was so nice hanging out with that deer that wasn't afraid of us.
It's so neat, isn't it?
And yeah, it was neat. So
because I had her and when we were riding back, and she just fell asleep with her head on my arm, and I don't know, there's just something, the relationship that I wish was there more now, but you know, you can look forward to it in the future of being that way.
Yeah, when all the animals will have that, and I can be able to ride on ostriches and ride on a bear and things like that. That'll be so cool.
You can play with tigers and lions, don't have to worry about getting your head knocked off. You know?
That'll be so cool. But it's been 5 years now since then. Yep. So it's kind of hard to believe that it's been that long. So she's a full-grown deer running around here somewhere enjoying life.
And we did, the rehabber did tell us that they were able to release her. And so that was, you know, that's nice. Just doing our little part to help out.
Yeah. Yep. So that was our time. Tell us about some of yours, as I mentioned earlier in this video. Well, that's it for our little animal encounters. We could mention more, but that's it for now. Back to work outside on the homestead. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.